Good. Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Zoom call today. I'm really excited to share. My name is Stacy Harmer, and I am the founder of Vibrant Living Academy. It's a community of women, and we actually have a few brave men who join us, and we focus on healing our bodies, hearts, minds, and souls, and really discovering our purpose and passion and sharing our gifts with the world. It's based upon the principles that I've written in my book, 7 Steps to Vibrant Living. You deserve to find joy now. And I'm going to share today some of those principles. I'm passionate about it. In that book, I describe my own healing journey from when I say I went from the pit to the promised land. And I know that the principles I share in there are so powerful and they change lives. That's why I am very passionate about sharing it. So let's get started. Thank you for joining us. So I think I'd like to share just a little bit of background about myself and why I do what I do. And I'm passionate about sharing. And that is that I was born to be a mother. Several years ago, I had 4 children in my home and was happy, but I didn't feel like our family was complete yet. My husband, on the other hand, thought it was complete, and we were a little bit of a gridlock. I don't know if you've ever been there before with a spouse or not, but that's where we were. And we didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do because I felt like we were not finished. So I took it to my higher power, my God, and started praying and pouring out my heart. And one morning I felt impressed to open up my core book of scripture. And as I was reading, I was in the book of Esther, I had this impression come to me that we do have another daughter coming, and she would be like Esther. Well, I knew that Esther was beautiful. She was chosen by the king. She was instrumental in saving her people. But Esther actually was also not raised by her birth parents, and she was of a different nationality. And so this thought that maybe this daughter would come to our family in a roundabout sort of way through adoption opened up for me. And I approached my husband, and he was good with that and came on board. And so that's what we did. And 18 months later, this little beautiful princess was placed in my arms, Olivia Grace, and just a treasure. She became a magnet for our family, and we just loved and adored her. We all wanted to be her best buddy. Here she is at 5 years old. Isn't she a princess? So early one morning, what happened in my life was things came crashing down when I heard my husband call out my name, Stacy, call 911. And I saw him trying to resuscitate our sweet Olivia, who had suddenly and unexpectedly passed away in her sleep following a very brief illness. There are just no words that I can possibly describe the horror of that experience and the devastation. Our world felt like it exploded into a million pieces, and as well as our hearts. Well, 2.5 years later, then I'm being rushed to the hospital. Not only had my husband and children and me lost our daughter, but now they were losing me as well. And I had spiraled down into a deep clinical depression. And my body, heart, mind, and soul simply broke down. So after several weeks of some serious medical intervention, I returned home. And I remember just pleading once again to my Father, my God, to help me pull back and bring back, get my life back. I didn't know where to begin or how to do that. But I felt the inspiration coming. I would get up every morning really early and start writing and start just praying and pleading and reading lots of things. And all of a sudden, all these ideas came to me about what to do and the pathway to healing. And so that's what I'd like to share with you today. It came with, I guess, let me show you my book again. You'll see a picture of a woman with these roots and branches and fruit. And so the idea was that Stacy, this is the pathway to healing. You're like a fruit tree, and you have roots. We have our body, 4 roots that I needed to focus on daily. Our body, heart, mind, and soul that needed to be nourished every single day. The trunk that represented finding system and structure in my life. And the branches of the tree reaching forward was finding purpose and passion, because at this point in my life, everything felt very gray. And as far as systems, everything was pretty chaotic. I needed to put some order in my life. And the fruit of the tree represented my own unique gifts and talents that I needed to share. But I had to focus on those first 4 roots. That was important. And once I did that, I would once again be able to bear fruit. So what I want to share with you today is the first 4 roots. And one is nourish your body. Our bodies are these incredible gifts that we've been given. And but often we don't treat each other or treat our bodies as these gifts. And we might punish ourselves by the way we eat or treat our bodies. But there's something called primary foods and secondary foods. And our primary foods are the things that really nourish our lives. There are relationships, our spiritual connection. They are finding mission and purpose in our lives or a career, and our physical ability to move. Those are the primary areas in our life, our primary foods. Our secondary foods are the foods that we eat, that they are important and they nourish us, but they're really secondary as far as bringing that meaning and purpose in our lives. But if those primary areas are missing or there's holes in our lives, often we will use those secondary foods to fill them. And that's what I did. I started dealing with the depression and the incredible anguish of her passing with food. I started eating and trying to find some sort of comfort. And after the 10 and 20 and 30 pounds that started piling on my body, I thought, I've got to figure this out. So I ended up studying and becoming a holistic health coach. And through my training, we were exposed to over 100 different dietary theories, a ton that is out there. But, nutrition is one science that it can be very contradictory. One theory might say something, the other would be the exact opposite. So I really discovered that everything is so individual. I started working with clients and realized that they knew in their heart what they needed to do for their bodies. So what I'd like to share with you is just choose one thing that you can start doing today that would make a difference in your life and in your health. And we know intuitively what that is. I know for me, I have chosen to give up refined sugar, at least for a period of time. And I want to eliminate it completely because I know what it does to me. I'm not that, we're going to get somewhere in our diets, but what is it that you need to do that by that one habit change, it could elevate your life? What is something that you could stop doing that could make a difference or start doing? Maybe it's exercise. We all know exercise, eating greens, sleep, all those type of things help our physical health. So every single day, nourish your body in some way. The second root is nourishing your heart. Our hearts are these amazing things. It's where we can hold on to our emotions. And there's a book called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And the idea is when we have emotions and stuff them, they're still alive in our body and they vibrate. They have an energy about them. In fact, there's a book called Power versus Force by David Hawkins. And he's a PhD and he has calibrated the energy of emotions. Okay, so from 0 to 1,000. He has all these different levels of emotions. And so any negative emotion like fear, frustration, overwhelmment, confusion, envy, jealousy, sadness, despair, judgment, guilt, shame, anger, any of those negative emotions calibrate at a low level, 200 or below. Shame being the very lowest calibrating emotion at 20. So on up the scale is peace and love and joy and forgiveness and gratitude and enlightenment. Clear up the scale. And there we're talking about 600, 800, 1,000. So, but when we're carrying these negative emotions of anger, or resentment, or frustration, or guilt, shame, and not realize it, we wonder why we continually get stuck, okay? So we say we want this vibrant life. We want this vibrant life, but we don't always get exactly what we want. We get energetically what we are. And so realizing that if we are carrying these negative emotions, that it does affect what we are attracting back into our life, because what we give out, we get back. Okay, so the idea is to live in a very high vibrational state, and then we'll get these good high vibrational experiences and things back into our life. So, but we're human. We're going to have negative emotions regularly, right? But the key is trying to be able to release them on a regular basis as well. And so to turn that over. So there's lots of different things that we can do. One is writing, getting up in the morning and simply writing. There's a book called The Artist's Way that talks about this. It's called Morning Notes, but just emptying out your brain and just writing, clearing it out. Or the idea of, you can keep it or just throw it away. I mean, we take showers and baths daily, right? Probably. But emotionally, we need to do that too. So if you're carrying some things, you can write out if you're feeling frustrated, and write that out and go to the frustration or the anger or the sadness and write it out, and then crumple it up and throw that piece of paper away. And when you do that, just imagine that just going away and filling that space in your heart with light. So that's one idea. Another idea is movement. Movement shifts energies. Like put on some happy music, get a playlist. That really raises your vibration, and it helps release any negativity, movement or running. Another idea is tapping. There's something called Emotional Freedom Technique, EFT. You can Google that, but there's different meridians that you can tap, and you can say the negative feelings and then replace them with the positive in those as you're tapping. So there's several different things that you can do. But nourish your heart every day. Check in. How is your heart feeling? And are you in a place of peace and joy and gratitude? And that's our goal. The third root is nourish your mind. Okay, our minds are powerful. If you don't like where your life is right now, just take a look at where your thoughts are, because there's a direct correlation between our thoughts and the results in our life. So everything that's happening in our life now is because of a thought that we have previously had. And that is huge. When I discovered that my thoughts were so powerful, and it changed everything for me. I really hadn't struggled with my thoughts much, I don't think, before this event in my life. I mean, I'm sure I did, but not consciously aware. But I began realizing that I was setting myself up for an epic failure because of the thoughts I was feeding myself after my sweet daughter passed. And it was swirling in my head all the time. You know, when sometimes you get thoughts and you can't get them out, that is so challenging. And so things like, and I don't even like to say it because I know our words are powerful, but I'm a failure, or if only I had done this, if only I had done this or that. I've let down God, I've let down my family, all these terrible things that I felt, but I verbalized them, and they were just in my head all of the time. I didn't know how to get them out. But a thought is, imagine a big field with grass, tall grass, and you're walking across the field, okay? That's like a thought in our brain where you're going to walk back across and back across. And pretty soon there's a pathway, and now that's where you're always going to walk, because there's a pathway, and that's what happens in our brains when we have thoughts continually over and over. So be careful what you're thinking, and especially if they're negative, and especially if they're tied to emotion. It like supercharges those neural pathways. But I didn't understand this at the time, and I was battling this so much until I did have an epic breakdown, and I feel like I created it through the thoughts that I had and the words I spoke about myself. I was struggling so much. So after those weeks in the hospital and coming back out and saying, how do I get my life back? I told you I had this beautiful vision of this tree, but also I started learning about thoughts in our minds and our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is our powerhouse, the powerhouse of our brain. It's really 95% of our brain capacity. We need our conscious mind to set those goals and consciously create things, but what really moves our life is what is in our subconscious. And we don't even know a lot of times what's in our subconscious. So that is important to understand, that we need to really train our brains consciously to then move it into our subconscious. So what I ended up doing, and really what's been a game changer for me, has I decided I need to start saying positive words. I needed to catch myself. I needed to stand up for me. Because if we can't stand up for ourselves and the words that are coming and the negativity that's coming, then who's going to? So I had that glimmer of, okay, I can do this. But I was struggling with my own self-worth at the time. I didn't believe any of those any positive things, really. I was really struggling. And so what I did was made a list of the women in my life that had made an impact, a difference, that I wanted to become like them. And I made a list of their positive qualities and traits. And I decided I would say these words. I decided that was going to be my affirmation. I would say these every day, morning and night. And then what happened is I'd be driving in the car, and it would take about a nanosecond to have my brain, a thought, I'd be in a good place to dive back down to the pit, the darkness again. And if you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, I have to memorize these so I can combat the negativity that I'm feeling, or that might pop into my head. And so I memorized my affirmations. It's been close to 10 years since I have been saying these, which is crazy to me. But I'm gonna rattle them off to you just so you know. And you don't need a whole huge long list, but you need something that connects with you and your heart. And you can write them down, have them there, or you can memorize them. I am Stacy Larson-Harmer, and I am loving and vibrant. I'm giving and compassionate. I'm sweet and gentle. I am strong and determined. I'm helpful and healing, fit and lean, smart and articulate, clean and organized, inspiring and influential, beautiful and talented. I'm pure and virtuous. I'm an incredible wife and mother, self-motivated, self-disciplined, a devoted daughter of God, and a faithful follower of Jesus Christ. I am amazingly successful, a brilliant and savvy businesswoman creating the life of my dreams. I'm a diamond. I give energy and enthusiasm to everything I do. I have fortune. I have growth. I'm a highly sought after mentor, trainer, teacher, and coach. I have an incredible dream team. I'm jazzed about my life. I keep my energy vibration very high. I spread love to everyone I come in contact with. I'm a money magnet, a natural presenter, optimistic, positive, and vibrant. I have passion, purpose, and clarity. Queen of my home, reach for the stars, successful at everything I do. Powerful trainer, unbelievably happy, and very blessed, changing the world for the better. That's a mouthful, okay? Kind of crazy. But I wanted it to go into my subconscious brain. I thought if I had the power to completely break down and like destroy my life, which I was on the brink of destruction, then something inside of me could create the most incredible life I could imagine. And that in itself was empowering to me. So that's what I did. Believe me, when I wrote down those lists of affirmations, I didn't believe any of it for myself yet, until I started saying them, until I started imagining this is who I am. And that spark of divinity that we all have started growing within me. It started changing me. It started changing the results that were coming back into my life. So that was the third root. Nourish your mind. Be careful what you think. Be very careful what you speak, and be intentional, because it's creation. The fourth root is nourish your soul. Okay, nourish your spirit. And that's connecting with divine in a beautiful personal way that speaks to you. But that has to be nourished. And I knew that I needed to do that in a powerful way like I had never done before. I had some very tender, beautiful spiritual experiences after my sweet daughter passed away that made me desire so much to be connected in a way to her as much as I could, even though she had passed. And I believed that that was possible. But how I needed to do that was to completely be open and to slow down. I, by nature, am a really energetic go-getter type of person. So that served me in a lot of ways. But I didn't realize the power that happens when we slow down. I mean, I believe there's a scripture, be still and know that I'm God. So when we slow down, we bring in more power. And so I remember just days after her passing, walking outside and looking around and seeing a beautiful like sunrise or sunset and just being in awe, because now everything I was looking for was some sort of sign, some sort of message from her or from God. I'd see a butterfly flitting around or a bird, and I would just be in gratitude. And all of a sudden I remember thinking, have I been asleep like my whole life? I'm just noticing things that I was not noticing before, taking the time because I was in such a hurry. And now I was relishing in every gift that I felt like I could find from nature. So I slowed down. Another thing I started doing was meditating. I'd never meditated before. I'd heard the word. I really didn't know what it meant. But to me, that just meant, once again, slowing down, taking deep breaths. In fact, right now, I'd love you to try this, just to take a big, deep breath for 4 seconds in and then hold it. And then hold, and then breathe out. And hold. That's a pattern. If you're feeling any sort of stress or anxiety, that you can do is to breathe in for 4 seconds, hold, breathe out, and hold. So I started meditating morning and night and just quieting my brain and connecting. I imagined myself as this like empty vessel, like this vase. And I would pray that I would be open to receiving anything that God could give me, or that my daughter. And things began shifting for me in such a beautiful way that I think I can say I never skip this practice, because I do it before I go to bed and when I wake up, and it has been so meaningful. And what has happened is it opens up this conduit of receiving light and ideas and beautiful experiences. And then what I do is this is my journal. I have over a dozen of these that I've just written. And anyway, lots and lots. But just when I receive anything, I record it. I keep it by my bedside. And sometimes I'm up in the night and will just simply record if something comes to me. If it's something that I need to act upon, my goal is to do something specific, do something to act upon that. And what has happened in this, and I've put it to the test for a dozen years. That's how long my daughters have been gone, passed from this life. What has happened, and I can say from experience, is it opens the door of beautiful revelation, beautiful inspiration, to quiet your mind, to open up, to meditate, to receive, to record, to act, and then it's a beautiful way to connect spiritually. Other people and can connect in other ways. These are just my experiences, but nature is another beautiful thing. Just simply journaling, writing is another way, but to connect those 4 areas, that's what I put on my to-do list every day: body, heart, mind, and soul. And just a mental check. What am I doing to take care of my body, heart, mind, and soul? When we do that, what happens is in our personal life, we began producing fruit like this, like the tree I showed you. The beautiful woman producing the fruit. But what happens on a fruit tree? We have lots of peach trees in our yard. What happens is, if it's not shared, the fruit is there. It hangs out for a while. It drops. It rots. It really kind of makes a mess. And so in our personal lives, if we are producing fruit, and that's the goal, it's meant to be shared. It is meant to be shared. If not, we kind of create this little messiness going on in our lives. So share your fruit. And the beautiful thing about fruit and us as women is we're all different. I might be a peach. You might be an apple. Someone else might be a pear, a plum, a pomegranate. And we bring it together and it creates something beautiful, something delicious. There doesn't need to be the comparison, but that we bring together something better than ourselves. That we are meant to share those, our gifts, and that are unique to us, that we're here on the earth for a reason now, and to embrace that. But there were years that I felt barren, that my tree was barren, and it took some time of healing to go through that, healing my body, my heart, my mind and soul. And I'm continually doing that. And that's my passion, is to help others heal as well and to bring that about. And that's what we do at the Vibrant Living Academy. We create a platform for healing as well and growth, as well as a platform for other women to come share their messages, their unique gifts and talents. I have a woman coming in my home tonight teaching about the sensitive child and how to help our children. And it's a platform that she can use her voice to bless our lives. And we do that online as well. So I'd love you to check that out at vibrantlivingacademy.org. or stacyharmer.com. So thank you so much for connecting today, and just encouraging you every day to nourish your roots, your body, heart, mind, and soul, and produce fruit in your own personal life. So thank you, everyone.